Okay, we are back.
Once again.
This was interesting. So, I know we're not going off again this time. So we hope everybody can join us back again. We're sorry for the interruption. But again, just to let you know what we're doing, we are starting our new series called If You Can't Tell It, Let Me Tell It, which is about someone else who's gone through, a person who's gone through some type of issue, some type of circumstances. We are quick to try to tell somebody else's story, say what's going on, but you can't tell somebody else's story. Only they can tell it. So today we have Lilla Freeman who's with us and who is telling us her story.
Trying to.
Exactly. So we're going to get this story out today because we believe that it's going to empower somebody. It's going to bless somebody and it's going to help encourage somebody. So again, Lilla, we're going to ask you kind of recap.
Okay, so like I said, so the beginning, my family life was sort of dysfunctional. So because I wasn't happy with my family life, I decided to take upon myself to start being rebellious at a very young age, 13. And I reiterate that at 18 years old, I got my first boyfriend. And he wanted me to prove my love to him by doing everything for the first time on my 18th birthday. Because I didn't drink, I didn't smoke. I just didn't do anything. I did a whole lot of messing around, but I didn't do
You were a good girl.
I'm a good bad girl. So on my 18th birthday, I did indulge in every possible known drug to mankind, and I drank for the first time. But unfortunately, when I did, I liked it. So it just took off from there, and it escalated in a slow period of time because like anybody else, you take Friday as your happy day.
Right.
So we sort of called ourselves faking it working. I got a little welfare check from my oldest son, and so like every Friday or every first of the month, that was our party time. And that's just basically how it progressed on. And it didn't really seem like a problem because we just did everything we saw our parents do. Right. You know, Friday after work, you go get your bottle, you get your bag, you come home, you get high, you screw, and that's it. That's how you got down like that. Right. But by the time I had my second child and I had broke up with my son's father, that's when I started to do it by myself on my own. And it turned into finding my girlfriends, get my girls, and we would all go and get high together. And just one particular day, you know, they always say a free high is the worst high.
Right, exactly.
And because you're the character, you're the life of the party, you know everybody, it just went from point A to point Z real quick. And I had always had close relationship with a lot of Caucasian people, and as you well know, Caucasian people can't go into certain areas, so they send us for them. And not only do they send black people, because obviously we mesh better with our own kind and we can approach people better than they can, at least back then. Now it don't matter,
right?
But back then you could,
right?
And by me being a female, you know, it was a better presentation to get more,
right? So
what wound up happening was I had these friends that would get high every weekend, and I'll never forget it as long as I live. And it was the beginning of my serious plummet into drug addiction. And this one particular weekend, I told my mom, you know, I'm going out, which was nothing new. She kept my kids all the time anyway. And I left on a Friday, and when I woke back up, it was 3 weeks later.
Wow.
It was 3 weeks later, because that's how much drugs they had in their house. And from there, it was like a point of no return.
Wow. So for 3 weeks, you did nothing but drugs.
Nothing but drugs for 3 weeks. When I finally like sort of shook the sand out my eyes, and one of the ladies that were there that basically owned the house, and I was like, dang, my mama gonna kill me. It's Monday. And the girl like, baby, this ain't no Monday.
Wow.
You've been here for 3 weeks. And I'm like, so after she let me know I had been there for 3 weeks, shame, guilt, and everything else, you know, sort of came in. So I had to try to find a way to explain to my mama where I was, because mind you, I was under the influence. I mean, I was sky high. I had went past Scotty in Star Trek.
And what were you using? What drugs were you?
At that time, I was just drinking and smoking crack. Okay. So when I called myself trying to beg my mama, or not to beg, but like find a way to lie my way out of this one,
right?
I don't remember what lie I told her. I think I told her I was doing crystal meth or something stupid like that. And she was just like, oh, baby, you know how mama is. We'll get you some help. We'll get you some rehab. But, you know, it went in one ear and out the window. And it just really escalated from there. I had what you call like a little pacifying beginning start. Because I had friends that sold drugs. I had friends that had crack houses or whatever. So I would just sit around and hang out with them, and it just went haywire. You know, from I would say 1997 until about 2000, I had what the world would consider a cushy setup. I had boyfriends that were drug dealers. But once the main boyfriend at that particular time had got fed up with my BS, then I had to turn to what I knew best, which was the oldest trick in the book, which was Jeff Davis. Now, at that time, you couldn't tell me I was tricking. Because I was just like, I was getting my own. I don't know. That's just how I called myself getting what I needed. And from there, I had a boyfriend that basically showed me the ropes. Now, at that time, my family was trying to tell me he was pimping me. But in my eyes and in his eyes,
he loves me.
Yeah, but we didn't see it that way. It was by any means necessary. We Bonnie and Clyde, we do or die. We're going to do this together. And I'm going to watch your back. I got your back. Ain't nobody going to hurt you. You just go do what you got to do and come on back. So it just went from abusive to sexual to out there in the streets. And then I finally caught my first charge with a possession charge. And at that very moment, for some reason, the state of Virginia changed their laws. And they automatically
at the time of your conviction.
Right at the time of my conviction. So it went from they had no paraphernalia charges to all drug charges. And to this day, none of the charges that I have are actually for drugs. They were all paraphernalia. But they had to slap me with drug charges. And my first bid, as they love to call it, down Richmond City Jail, was in 2003. And I got locked up before my son's birthday. I got locked up on February 11th, and his birthday was on Valentine's Day. And I think that following Thursday, they had Bible study. And I went to Bible study with the intention of meeting a friend to get some candy and stuff because I was dope sick. Because I've been doing heroin by now. It went from crack to heroin and moved on up. And I remember a girlfriend, never forget her. Her name is Gigi. Gigi, I know you somewhere on Facebook. Hey, baby. And she told me to meet her sister, Andy, in the little multi-purpose room at the time before they had redid Richmond City Jail. And they told me to come get some candy and stuff, which would help with the cravings and whatnot. But when I got there was nobody there, but this lady was there. And her name was Sherry Hall. And she came from Faith Landmark Church. And she started telling us about this man that she knew that was taking care of her, that loved her in the midst of her addiction. She was on drugs for a long period of time. And long story short, she kept talking about this man. I'm like, lady, if you mention this man's name, I'm about to go take your man. I'm telling you right now. And by the end of her conversation, she said his name was Jesus. Now who want to get saved? And everybody in the room, hands in the room just went straight up in the air. And I think that was in February. And you know, at that time, Richmond City Jail was basically like a camp. So when you got locked up, you saw your friends, you saw your family, you saw everybody. So it was just like it was like a little vacation for everybody. And I'll never forget it. One of the girls that I used to get high with, her name was Tanya Bryant. She was on the tier with us, and she actually died right on H1 in front of all of us. She had been released, and I don't know the whole story. All I know is what they reported back to us back on the tier. She had been released, and upon her release, she supposedly didn't take her insulin, but was doing drugs. So when she came back to jail a couple of weeks later, her body shut down because she had not had the insulin, but she had been feeding herself the drugs, so it just couldn't cope, and her whole body shut down. And that was in 2003. And I think I got out probably like that August, way close to 200 pounds. So my parents really didn't even know who I was when I wobbled myself out of the jail.
You were healthy.
I was past healthy, honey. It was two of me living on that. And I came right back home and did the same exact thing. It was the same exact thing. I think I got home that August, and by October I was back down the hillside. My comfort zone literally was between Jefferson Davis Highway, right in the area of Hull Street and Walmsley. I don't care what anybody say. I don't care if anybody agrees with me. That is literally a trap. A trap. It is a setup, because once you get stuck in that lifestyle, whether it's drugs or a drug addict or a drug dealer, you cannot leave. You can't. It's like that spiritual grasp will not let you go. It's like a demonic force, a legion, a principality, whatever you want to call it. It holds you there. The only people that I actually know that can get out are the people that probably don't even pay no attention or know the lifestyle.
Right.
But like if you're stuck up in getting high or making sure that you're close by when somebody needs the service of drugs, you're not leaving the area.
Right.
Not but so far.
Right, because it's like an area of convenience.
Exactly. The furthest you might go is Southside Plaza.
Right.
And
so basically, like when we're seeing people that are on Jeff Davis that are moving to Hull Street area, you're still in the same situation.
Yep.
You're just in a different area.
You're just in a different area. And like now, a lot of people think that Jeff Davis is clean. We're not stupid.
No.
You're far from stupid. All you gotta do is go one street back.
Right. And all we did was go a couple streets down.
Yeah, you go one street back
Right.
because that's how you maneuver. That's how you get around. Nobody's going in their right frame of mind anyway. Walk down a main street that we know that police and everybody else is on, or your mama or your daddy or somebody you done robbed. You know, you just got through tricking. You just robbed somebody. Of course, you're not gonna walk down the main strip. You're gonna take the back roads. You're gonna take the alleys. So it just went from there and
basically pulled you right back into the same situation.
Exactly. So again, 2004 rolls back around, February, I get locked back up again. This time on February 12th, right before my child's birthday. And I think they let me out this time probably about October. So it went from February to October because I had some extra charges and whatnot. And they let me out again. And this time by June 2005, I get caught up on another charge. I got a bail and I didn't show up. So
that revoked
they revoked everything. So that was June 2005. And I bucked and I ran again because I have a problem with authority. I just don't like it. I don't care how much probation you can put me on. You can't make me do anything I don't want to do. That's just how I felt.
Right.
But God had a bigger plan.
Right.
And in October 2005, God got sick of me. And I think I got sick of myself. And the system got sick of me. And I kneeled down on my knees in the bullpen at Decatur Street. And I said, God, I don't care what happens today. But today is the day I need you to change everything.
Right.
And it was probation violation day. And out of 15 people that was in there, in that bullpen that day, everybody went home but me. Everybody got released but me.
Wow.
A couple people came in with charges, drug charges, gun charges, all on a probation violation.
Right.
And they went home. But that particular day, Judge Taylor looked me in my face and he said, Miss Freeman, I'm going to save your life today. And he just kept saying 6 months, 6 months, 6 months, 6 months, 6 months. And I'm laughing, I'm smiling. I was like, all right, cool. And he said, so are you okay with that sentence? What else am I going to be? You gave me 6 months. He was like, no, ma'am. I just gave you 2 years.
6 months for each charge.
Yes. And I'm like, huh? My knees buckled. I got weak. And they sent me. They sent me to the state penitentiary. But I can honestly say it was the best experience, embarrassing, humbling experience of my life. You know, you're in prison. Nobody wants to go to prison.
Exactly.
But once you get to prison, it's completely different than being in jail. I realized I was not who I thought I was or who I portrayed to be or who I wanted to be in this fake fantasy world that I had made up in my mind.
And so many people get confused. Jail and prison are
two different entities. Two different entities.
Two total different things.
The whole setup from what you see on TV is almost the same. But the mind frame of the people that are there are completely different. Because you're not meeting people now that are serving 6 months, 9 months, and nothing. You're just meeting people that are never leaving.
Right.
And I think what really affected me was meeting women that will never see their kids again. That's what really put the icing on the cake for me. Here I knew everything about my drug dealer. I knew everything about his kids. I knew everything about his wife's life. But I couldn't even tell you my kid's favorite color.
Wow.
And I'm sitting across from a woman that's been locked up for 36 years and has no idea where her children are. Because when she was incarcerated, they got adopted out and they never let her know what happened to her children. When you meet women
you about to make me cry.
that are in prison for protecting their children, and the judge tells them that it's overkill and they have to give them 25 years. Or you meet a woman who's protecting herself because her husband's lover is coming after her and trying to hurt her, and in self-defense she kills this person,
Right.
and she's getting time. Yes, she's getting time. So that's what basically changed it for me. That's what made me realize, yes, I like getting high. I love the whole lifestyle. I don't care. Some people may tell you that you're stupid for even doing that, but for me, I gotta be truthful with myself.
Right.
I used to love getting high, but I didn't like the cost and the price that I had to pay. And to sit back and see women that would give anything just to be able to come on the other side of the fence. And everybody says have faith, gotta change it, gotta make a way. But then there's those of them that are there because the change that they will make is in somebody's life like mine.
Right.
Like, although they may never come from behind those bars, they change somebody like me, my life forever, because I'm never going back in there again, not unless it's to minister to somebody.
You're right.
And so that's what basically helped me. And there was this one prison counselor, because at the end of my 2 years, I was still rebellious. Mm-hmm. Although I was meeting all these wonderful women, I was still very rebellious. So at the last, I would say 90 days, they decided to ship me to a cognitive thinking program, and I cussed them people out from top to bottom, and I did the whole cliche thing. Oh, the judge told me to do time. He didn't tell me I had to come do no program and all of this extra stuff. And I fought with these people tooth and nail. They was like, Ms. Freeman, either you gonna go to this program or you gonna add some time to your sentence. So pick one. So I went, and the whole time I pouted like a big crybaby, and I sat there with my arms pouting, and they gave me all this AA and NA paperwork to fill out, and every question they gave me, I wrote F you, ask your mama, ask your daddy, pop a pecker out your daddy's mouth and ask him the question. Wow. I was real rude and real vulgar. And finally the counselor let me know, and she said, Ms. Freeman, you know what? You can have that attitude. Mm-hmm. You can feel that way all you want to, but I can promise you this. This is how you can need to make this decision. Mm-hmm. You can go get high. I promise you. You leave here in about 50 days. Mm-hmm. You got 50 days to sit down and be patient. And after these 50 days up, you're not on papers. You can go do whatever you want to do. Mm-hmm. But be willing to accept the repercussions that's going to come with it. And when she said that, I believe it attached itself to everything in my body. And although I did slip up a couple of times when I came home, I kept hearing her in my head saying, are you really willing to accept the consequences that may come with the decision you're about to make? Because I was still addicted to shoplifting. Because you get addicted to just doing certain things.
Right, it becomes a perpetual habit.
It really, because although you had the money to pay for it, okay, but do you want to pay for your room? Do you want to eat? Or are you gonna buy some drawers? Because one of these things you can't do, but you need all of them. So you go in the store and you start stealing what you feel like is your basic necessities, but you keep your money to go ahead and pay for your room, pay for your drugs, and whatever else. And so I did have a problem with still stealing. I really did. A bad problem with stealing when I came home. Right. And one day I was in the store, and it was like a $10 bottle of fingernail polish. And God actually told me, you willing to go back to prison? But you got $300 in your pocket, but you got this $10 bottle of fingernail polish in your hand about to steal it. So, and I never shoplift again. And it's just a process. And a lot of people don't realize that when you're coming home from prison, it's not an easy thing. It's really not. Whether you're coming home from prison or you're coming home from jail, for the simple fact that you don't know how to live, especially when you've been doing this thing for a very, very, very long time. Because a lot of people may start getting high, but your messed up process way of thinking started way before you picked up. Right. Because you have to be somewhere messed up in your mind to think that, okay, I'm going to take this needle and stick it in my arm. Or, okay, I'm going to go sleep with such and such husband for this $200 a day. Somewhere along the line, your way of thinking is already twisted. Right. So when you come home, you don't know how to think. You don't know how to process. And everybody's looking for somebody to give them rounds of applause, for being clean. Or for, I got a job now. Ain't nobody patting you on your back.
Right, because that's what your responsibilities are.
Exactly. And process and dealing with conflict. Hostile situations. You can't respond the way you used to. Right. I can't come out and think I'm just going to swing on you on the workplace. Right. or because you called me a B word, or you rolling your eyes, or I asked you a question and you being nasty with me. So your whole handling the situations, handling family.
Right.
Because they're all waiting for you to mess up, from your mama to your kids, to your daddy, to your best friends, to your cousins. Everybody wants the best for you. Everybody would love to see you do well.
But they know what they're used to.
And especially after that long period of time. Because I think I was out there for at least about almost 8 to 10 years off and on. So it was hard. It was a hard concept for everybody to deal with. And then I came home in 2007, and a couple of months later I was pregnant. So that was a big turn.
Right.
A big turnaround. So I'm like, how the heck that happened?
Right.
I'm still trying to figure out.
Right.
Like, okay, I'm just thinking I'm celebrating coming home, and a celebration. Now I'm getting a baby shower. And then on top of that process, a couple of years after that, you find out your child is diagnosed with autism. So now you done went from never raising children to now raising a child that you can't even communicate with. So things really have taken some different turns in life. And learning how to deal with this, and then now I have custody of my grandchildren, and I'm still trying to figure out and fit the pieces together of how do you do that? How do you go from still being in a dysfunctional relationship, because Michael's father still wasn't the best of choices.
Right.
Because I came home thinking that he was this knight in shining armor, and I put all these expectations on being in a relationship, and it wasn't fair.
Right.
It wasn't fair to him because it was an expectation, but I didn't love him.
Right.
I just wanted somebody to
save you.
I just wanted somebody to save me. And he was in no position to be my savior.
Right.
He wasn't. And although we did have our rocky spots, and we fought, and his parents, they tried their best to try to play happy people in the middle. My parents tried their best to be happy and in the middle, but in the same token, everything just has been different. Right. Just really different. Trying to not cuss nobody out and not relapse. That's the biggest key. Like, even to this day, right now, Holy Ghost filled, sanctified, can fall out on the floor in less than 3.5 seconds flat. If I think on God real good, I still can get to the point where I get upset and I be like, well, you know what? Let me just go get me a drink. But that drink can lead to getting drunk, getting really pissy drunk, you know, and it may not lead to just getting high, but it can be to the point where I'm cussing my kids out because I'm mad. I don't want to do that no more. I don't want to be that mom that's sitting up here self-medicating myself because I'm angry because I didn't get the job I wanted. Because now I don't have the problems, as Jay-Z would say. As much as I hate Jay-Z, I can't stand Jay-Z. But 99 problems, and I ain't got that one today. I don't have that problem today. I may got a whole lot of other problems, but I don't have that problem.
So what do you use, because you know that it's difficult every day, is a struggle. Having been an alcoholic, I know that what my limitations are. I know that I can't be around certain things, or I can't indulge in liquor. I know that. What do you do to help you stay positioned so that you don't go back out there? Because you don't have type of anchor. Because it only takes a second to get back out there. Like you said, it takes a trigger. What do you do to anchor yourself so that you don't have those triggers?
I tell myself the truth. I tell myself the truth. And as vulgar as this may sound, and if I offend anybody right now, I don't apologize. I really don't. Because it's what I have to do for me. The best way for me to do it is, do I want to wake up popping a dick out my mouth? And no, I don't. I don't want to have to go through that. I don't want to ever have to, go in my bank account and try to figure out how am I going to buy this hit, or how I'm going to get high without my kids knowing about it, and eventually having to pop somebody's dick out my mouth. No, I just do not feel like, and I have to remember that. See, because a lot of people only remember the good times of getting high. That's how it's so easy to fall back into it. You remember the feeling. You remember how it feels, because some people even like the process of what you got to go through to go get the dope. You got to go see the cute boy down the street. You got to go see Daquan and them. You got to go see Ray Ray and them. You go around the way. You go see your old friends. they'll be happy to give it to you. You go through the process of going to the store to buy this and that. You go get your liquor. You go get your Newports. You get all your little stuff up. You get your babysitter. You get your hotel room. And you sit in your little circle and you get prepared. But am I ready for the consequences that's going to come after that?
Right.
Am I ready for having to face my babies after that weekend is over?
Right.
Am I ready for, if I run out of money, what's going to happen next? And see that what's going to happen next?
Right.
I can't do that. I can't get myself back in that position again, because that's, to me, that's not a good feeling for me.
Right. And you don't want to really, you've already had to deal with the anguish and the hurt and pain of not raising your own children.
Yes.
And I can't imagine as a parent to be away from your child, and because you're not even in your faculty.
Oh, well, that's
you
delusional
about,
too.
Right, you don't think about that.
You actually, this is a self brainwash. Mm-hmm. You tell yourself that my kids are fine because they're with my mom.
Right.
My kids are fine because they're with my cousin, or my kids are fine because they're with their dad. But no, they're not fine.
Right. Because mom's not with them. Mom's not taking care of them.
Exactly.
Mom's not, fulfilling her responsibility. And then to leave them for 2 years.
Honey, with my children, it was...
it was more than that. But the 2 the extended period,
the whole
prison sentence.
Right. But see, unfortunately, with me personally... I had my son when I was 17. He was my mother's from the day he came out the womb. Because it was my first child.
It was your first child.
I was 17 years old. So that was my mama's baby. And it was a boy. She took him. It wasn't even no questions asked.
Right.
Although I lived in the house with her.
It wasn't your child.
It was not my child. He was never my child.
So you never really had the responsibilities of being a parent anyway.
Never. Could not tell you how to begin to get up. And I was rude. I was nasty to my mother. Even before I started getting high, my mom would be like, okay, come on, the baby gotta get up. You feed him. You up with him all the time anyway. So I never faced the responsibility of being a mom. And that whole cycle, it comes back to bite you in your butt. Because now my kids, they don't make the best of decisions.
Right.
But I'm not going to put them on blast. And I'm not to say that my parents made poor choices in how to support me. They did what they felt like they needed to do at that time. But long story short, with this whole staying clean thing, I'm not trying to sound spiritual, I'm not trying to sound deep. Yes, Jesus is my rock. He is the one I turn to. I had to call him at his word. I'm like, okay. And I used to sit on my bunk and challenge him. You told me, this is what you said out your mouth. You told me to go in this little candy store book you got. Because that's what it looked like, a candy store book.
Right.
Because it looked like a bunch of promises. Like you telling me a whole bunch of sweet nothings. But you told me that if I do this, this is going to happen.
Right.
So, and I remember one night I came home. I just got home from jail. And I was getting high. And I met up with my ex-boyfriend. And I realized that, like most people do as they're getting high, they start watching the clock because they know they're supposed to be at a certain place at a certain time. So now the clock is ticking, and I'm like, holy crap, I done came home. I didn't even tell my family I'm home. I'm out here getting high again already. God, what am I going to do? And in one ear, the boyfriend is sitting over me. He's like, all right, well, we about to go hit this lick, and we're going to do this. I'm like, nah, I need to go home. So all of a sudden, I hear my small little voice on the inside say, pray. I'm high as a kite. I got a crack pipe in one hand and a needle in the other, and you telling me to pray? And my little inner Holy Spirit told me to pray and watch what I do. And I started praying. I was like, God, okay, you told me to go in these little promises, these little sweet nothings you done told me. You said that if I resist the devil, he'll flee. So I'm going to start walking down this street, and I want to see what you do. And then my boyfriend was, at that time, was not one of the most nicest people when you told him no.
Right.
And as I started to walk away, I could hear his feet coming behind me. And I'm praying, because I'm like, Lord, we about to get to fighting out here. And I'm walking, and I'm saying, you said that if I walk away, you said if I walk away, you will help me. So now I'm going to need you to give me a way out. Because if this man started whipping me down the street, how am I explaining to my mama that I just got out of jail and I'm coming home with all these black guys? Right. So I'm walking down the street, and he stopped, and he couldn't move. He just stopped in the middle of the street, and he couldn't take another step. And when I got to the end of Hartwood and Jefferson Davis Highway, and these cars just started coming past me, and I actually hear the Holy Spirit say, not that one, not that one, that one. And the man pulled over, and he said, are you okay? And I said, I just want to go home. And he said, well, where do you live? And I told him my dad's address. He said, well, that's funny. I live right down the street from there. And that man took me home. And from that moment on, I may not have changed at that very second, but I started to see God keeping his promises right in the midst of my mess. In the midst of doing wrong, in the midst of having a crack pipe in my hand, in the midst of having just taken a needle out of my arm, he kept his promise. He said, if you walk away, I will give you a way out. Just trust me. And he did, and I've never seen that man be able to stop and not move. He couldn't move, and he's cussing at me. He's telling me, bring your back here. And I'm like, and I hear God, just don't turn around, just keep walking. And he couldn't move. So it's just the small things, trying. And people may tell you you're crazy. People are going to tell you that Jesus is fake and that Jesus is not real. And, you're brainwashed. This is something that you heard when you was little and it's an emotion. It's not an emotion.
Right.
It's not an emotion. I get emotional when I talk about it because of what could have happened to me when I was out there. What could have transpired when I was in prison, and I'm meeting girls that got 30 years for some of the same exact things that I've done.
Right.
And we so stupid, we actually think we was that good we didn't get caught. We actually tell ourselves that we was with the right dude, that knew the angle. We was that slick. We was in the right car. We got away. No, you didn't get away.
Right.
God went ahead and shielded that particular cop that particular day to keep him because he knew I would have went loony as a bed bug sitting in prison for 30 years. Honey, but yeah, his word works. It does.
You just have to believe it. Even when you don't fully believe it, you still gotta try it. You can't go off of what somebody else said.
Yep.
Or live off of somebody else's spirituality or their what. You gotta take that, as you say, what you call it, candy store,
his little candy store,
and try a piece of candy. And trust that his word is going, God has never lied to us. Even when we are out there doing whatever we're doing, he's still protecting us. He's still watching over us. And I thank God for him watching over you. I thank God for him just keeping you, because your life is a testament of his grace. It's a testament of his undying love. Because I watch you when you minister out, when we go out on the street and you go out with me. And I watch you when you're with the ladies, because they remember you. They, some know you, and they look at, it's like they want to walk our way. They want to leave it alone because they see a change in you. It's like, well, if Lily can change,
yes,
God gotta have something in store for me. But you have to have, I don't care, we can offer every type of resource. We can say, oh, you need to get off your parents or your children. Right. But until you walk that walk and ready to say enough is enough and leave it alone, nobody can make you do it.
Nope.
And I don't care how many times they see your story, how many times that they hear your story, they see you not doing what you used to do, what they know of you. They see there's something different about you. They see the change. They hear the change. But what I love about you, and I think from day one when I first met you, is your realness. We live in a society now that is so cross your T, dot your I.
Yeah.
Don't say this. If you're in the church, you can't talk that way. You can't say this. Well, everybody's not in the church that needs to be reached. The ones that are struggling, trying to find a way, the ones that are struggling, trying to find where God is and who God is, they need realness. They need us to just be genuine, and I thank God for your authenticity.
Thank you. And I think more so along the lines of that aspect too, and I really do hope some of our sisters are watching. A big chunk of what we would assume to be failure is lifestyle.
Right.
The lifestyle.
Yes.
And a lot of people think that Tricks have this dirty, busted, dusted lifestyle, but it's actually addictive to trick. It is, because it's the oldest profession in the book, you know, and especially if they have their certain clientele that they're used to dealing with, that even if you're not high, they pay you. Right. They pay your bills. Like, that's what strippers do. Right. They ain't getting high. Every stripper ain't, getting high, but that's how they pay their bills. You know, you got sugar mamas, you got sugar daddies. Plenty of people got sugar daddies.
Well, now they got a website, Sugar Daddy.
Exactly. And people enjoy that money. So basically what I try to pass along in small nuggets is simplicity. You know, small starts. It's nothing wrong. I kid you not. For at least, I came home in 2007. Until 2011, I was a waitress. Because I was afraid that nobody would hire a multiple convicted felon. Because like I said, none of my charges were actual drug charges. I just had the paraphernalia charge. But heroin and cocaine charges always pop up. So I always took being a waitress. But I was so bold in my confession, in my testimony, being a waitress, that the Lord always blessed me with abundance. Right. And from that abundance, I was able to see I didn't need nobody in doing anything as far as in exchange for money. Right. You know, because I was well taken care of. Very well taken care of. Now, am I going to sit here and lie and say you can pay $1,600 rent off of making tips? You possibly can. Don't let nobody tell you that you cannot. You know, because you got the Cheesecake Factory. Right. You don't have to just work at these little teeny bitty places, but it's small beginnings and trust in yourself. Right. Don't let people tell you that you can't get a job. I work at the Marriott. There's no way that I was supposed to be working at the Marriott. Right. But the man looked me in my face, and I kid you not, this is the honest to God true story. He said, "Miss Freeman, tell me what you did to get your charges." And I was polite. And I said, well, I was a bad kid, and I tried to give him the proper terms. So he gave it up to his higher boss. He said, we have to run it past human resources. Right. So human resources called me again. She said, well, can you write down what your charges were and what happened? Because we just really not understanding. We really want to give you this job. And my friends are telling me, though, you'll never be able to work at the Marriott because you have all of these felonies. Right. And so the human resources lady, for some reason, could not grasp it. So they sent it up to the higher office, to corporate. And corporate called me. And by then I had got pissed off. And I said, look at here. I'm going to tell you like this. I was a junkie. I like to get high. I sold my ass on the corner, and I got caught. And I went to prison. And now I'm home, and now I would like a job. He said, you hired.
All he wanted was you to be honest. But God had already preordained it.
I'm trying to tell y'all a really nice, using looking at the dictionary.
I'm trying to be politically correct.
Big, pretty words, and I got the dictionary, the Webster out, and I'm trying to break it down for you. And it took them 3 different, up the ladder to call me. And when he finally called me that ladder, he was like, you hired. When can you start? So never let nobody tell you that because you got felonies, you can't have a job. Because to be honest, people will hire prisoners before they hire a regular person, because especially over the time that you've served, because you're committed. Right. You used to getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning. You want a job. You don't want to go back to prison. So you're going to do your job. Right. You're going to be, more work ethic than the most average person. So
because you value.
You're very grateful.
You're grateful. You need that money.
You're grateful. You're grateful. You went from making 26 cents an hour to now you making $10.25 an hour. Right. And for some people, that's not a lot of money. You got drug dealers that have never had a job. They're used to making $1,000 an hour. So that's a big turnaround for them. Right. Because even in prison, they were ballers. They had people putting money on their books. They never had to want for nothing. Right. But it's all in being humble and being grateful. I'm telling you, like right now, she's sitting in my little kitchen, y'all. But you know something? I can go flick my light switch.
Exactly.
I don't have to wait for a prison guard to tell me you can't, no, the lights can't go off because they don't go off.
They don't go off.
No, you can turn them on dim, but you can't turn them out. Right. You can't close the curtain. There's no curtain. You can't turn a blind. You can't turn a doorknob. You got to push a button to go pee. You know, the most humiliating thing, you got to get strip search. You got to pull your tampon out.
Right.
For these people to make sure that there's nothing up there but what's supposed to be up there.
Right.
Can you imagine having to actually pull your tampon out and hand it to somebody? And you got 3 officers standing there watching you do that?
Yeah, with my OCD.
See?
Yeah, and I think that, wow.
Yeah.
We take so much for granted, and I know one of the things that I used to tell the inmates when I used to go to Lunenburg is, they would always talk about, oh, you did this, did that. Now, honey, let me tell you, I'm only on the outside because I didn't get caught.
Yes.
It is not because I didn't do anything wrong or I didn't, I should have been doing time, but by the grace of God, same in your situation, that we were able to get out of those situations. You suffer the cost, things when you do, there's an effect for everything that you do. And I thank God for everything that we both have gone through, especially, I'm just amazed and thankful that we came in contact with each other. I have never met someone, as I said earlier, so genuine. You will give anything and everything you have to somebody just for them to make it. And when I see, when we're out on that street, just seeing you give your all.
Right. And, another thing that people do, and I'm going to put this out here because I feel like I'm led to, especially we as women.
Yes.
And I'm not going to say black women because it's just
general.
women in general. Mm-hmm. We will make fun of each other, tear down each other, we'll sniggle at each other. Yeah. If you see a broad walking down the street and she all crusted up and she got her drawers hanging half off and she digging up her nose, and the first thing you say, yeah, look at that baby, but you don't know.
Right.
You don't know, and instead of judging or instead of talking about her, why don't you just go offer a glass of water, a hug, ask her if she okay.
I mean, we get our biggest thing is, I'm not leaving that street without hugging everyone that I come in contact with.
Every single one of them.
Because you don't know what a hug will do. A hug will change, could be that one thing that changes a person's direction, changes their mindset, it could be, you could have been thinking about suicide right before that hug. You don't know what somebody's dealing with. And I thank God that we are obedient, and we need to stop that. We need to stop judging, because it's not just the people on the street. Because we can be sitting in our nice homes and this and drive nice cars and have everything in the world that we think materialistically, and still be lost. Still be in the midst of darkness. You can be worse off than the person who you think is crusty on the street.
I'm telling you, my fiance, because he served 12 years. Mm-hmm. And he tells all the time, he's met more people in a mental prison than he has that are in prison.
Wow.
Because when you come home after being locked away for so long, mm-hmm. and you meet people that their only mind frame is, especially like I said again, women, mm-hmm. I got to get my hair done. Why are you spending $200 on wigs and hair? Now, not knocking nobody. Right. If that's what you like, that's what you like. But after you come home, and meeting all these people that are never coming home again, it irritates you.
Right.
Like I said, I'm not trying to offend anybody, but it bothers me mm-hmm. that I got sisters that's still back in prison that'll never see the light of day, but you complaining about taking your kids to the park.
Right.
Because you want to sit on your phone. You don't even want to watch your kids at the park. You want to play on the phone. Or you want to go shopping and you just don't want to enjoy taking a walk down the street. Mm-hmm. And I know everybody has their own little hobby or what they do to relax and whatnot, but it's too much free stuff.
Right.
It's too much of free life mm-hmm. to live. To be so bogged down with, we going to the Bahamas and we going to do this and we got a new car and we got a new house. Just live.
Right.
Enjoy every day. And because I'm not going to sit here and say every day is not promised, but in the same breath, take advantage of small stuff.
Right.
Like you can go outside right now and take a deep breath
And just say, thank you, God, for
Right.
air.
And a lot of people don't believe me when I say the air is actually different when you cross the fence. When you're behind those prison walls, it smells like stale concrete. I don't care how much they put deodorizer on it, that little orange blossom deodorizer, and the inmates keep it immaculate because they got grounds people out there. They actually train these people to landscape.
Oh, I did. I had some of the ladies.
Yeah,
from Brunswick,
so we
they
got
do that.
real landscaping out there. So they keep the grounds nice. They keep it pretty. You know, we got ashtrays. It's not like what you see on TV.
Right.
You know, it looks like a college dorm. It's really, no, unfortunately, it look good, but hey, they got to
Right.
keep it up. It's where they live at. But to come outside that gate, you know, the air is different. And you get a whole new respect for everything. Like, just saying good morning to people and they speak back. It hurts me when I say good morning to somebody and they grin on me. For what?
Right.
Or if I pay another woman a compliment and she look at me like, why is you complimenting my... Because you're beautiful. I can't tell you you're beautiful.
Right.
What's wrong with me telling you you look nice? I love your hair.
Right.
Or if I tell your husband, you know what, you look good, girl, and he look wearing that suit. Why you getting mad at me? Because I want to tell you look good with your man.
Right. But everybody doesn't understand this type of freedom. Your freedom is not just in being free within yourself. Your freedom is as a whole, is a broader thing that people don't even, from where you've been and where you free from so much. You are free from so much, and
Yes.
because you are free with a capital F, you are able to appreciate what most people will consider the little things.
Yes.
You know, you can appreciate the air. You can appreciate, just being able to spend time with your children and being able to, just love them.
Yes.
Love your grandbabies and just love them the way that you know that they deserve to be loved and that you didn't have that opportunity. God gave you another chance to get it right and to love them. Not just to get it right, but to just do it, to raise them and to make sure that they are protected, make sure that they are going down the right direction, and you are planting seeds of love and seeds, the God seeds into their lives. And I thank you for that. We thank everybody for showing up today. She said, freedom is knowing your worth. Amen.
Thank you, Crystal. I saw your comments too. Thank you so much.
Does anybody, before we get ready to wrap up, because we need to go pick those babies up, does anybody have any questions that they want to ask of Lilla, or you have any questions you want to ask me about what we do as far as ministry? We welcome your questions. We welcome your comments. We thank you for just sharing with us on today. We will be back on next week with another guest. Every week we have guests lined up. God has blessed us, and we pray that every person that has been picked, God ordained, and that He allowed them to be able to minister to us individually and collectively, because nobody knows your story but you. Nobody can tell your story but you. Nobody can minister life and what you've been through except for you. So this series is about you telling your story. It's about, setting someone else free based on your experiences. I can't talk to and tell an addict, oh, you shouldn't do drugs, if I've never done drugs. I can't tell a homeless person, oh, well, you need to go find a job. You shouldn't stand on this corner. You shouldn't do this, if I haven't walked in that person's shoes. And we are so quick to want to tell people what they shouldn't be doing, how they should be living, and we have never walked into their shoes. Everybody on this earth has a purpose. Rahab, we preached a sermon once before that said Rahab had a prostitute with a purpose. Everybody has a purpose. If Rahab had not done what God had commissioned her to do, and sometimes we don't even realize that it's God who's telling us what to do. We're just following along. But she knew that there was a reason why she was hiding those men. And she knew that if it had not been for her hiding them, that the city would have never, they would have taken over the city. It would have been a siege. It would have never turned out the way that it did. So because Rahab followed the plan, Rahab followed the purpose, Rahab followed the plan that God had laid out for her, she was able to help captives be free. she was able to keep those men protected. She was able to allow the purpose that God had ordained for her to come to pass. And we just thank God that everyone, from the prostitute to the addict, from the addict to the homeless, from the prisoner to, those who are out here free, every one of us has a purpose. Every one of you, each of you, we don't know what you've gone through, what you've been through, what you're dealing with. It may not be drugs. It may not be prostitution. It may be domestic violence. It may be, cancer. It may be whatever, we don't know. All we know is that each and every one of us can help somebody. So if you want to share your story, please feel free to give us contact me, let me know, send me a DM, and we will make sure that we get with you every Monday. We'll be on next Monday. We will be on at 12. If the time changes, we will definitely give you plenty of notice. So we just want to say thank you. We pray that God will continue to bless you, that God will continue to restore you, that he will continue to lift you up, that God will continue to speak life into your situations, that God will continue to deliver you from whatever keeps you captive, that God will just be everything that you need him to be. We thank you for everything and every one of you, and we just pray that God will anoint you to be all that you need to be for his glory, not yours. So we thank you. God bless you. We love you. Oh, before Christina says, are there any needs for the ministry? Right now, we're just getting ready for the winter. We're starting to collect for the winter. If anyone has backpacks, the little drawstring backpacks, or have store bags, we need socks. Those. We need to start collecting socks. We need to start collecting gloves and hats. Those are the things that we're preparing now for for the winter. We don't want to wait until it gets cold to try to get those things in. If you have those black and white composition books, we do collect those and we give those out so that ladies, they journal. Because sometimes you can't express what it is that you're going through, and it's easier to write it down, and just, it helps them to be able to express themselves in their own way. What else do you think that we might need?
Definitely chapstick.
Yes. Chapstick.
We go through a lot of chapstick.
Oh, Vaseline.
Yes.
One or the other. Those are things that we need.
Tampons.
Pads. Yes. We rather have right now tampons than pads. We have a lot of pads still left, but if there are any tampons, we do need those. We sports bras. You can get most of the people that we encounter, most of the ladies are small or medium. Yep. Very few are large, but if you have, we get 1 or 2 large. That's wonderful. Hoodies, snacks. We give out snacks every week. Water every week. We do the water. Sometimes you get tired of drinking plain water, so sometimes we get the little boxes of the little substitute things that you put in the water. We get that. We pass that out because when you going through your addiction, as Lila told us, something sweet helps you to be able to feed that urge to want to get high. So we give out the snacks, whether it's chips. We try to give chips, or we try to give like a honey bun or something like that will help feed that need.
And for some reason, I don't know why, Dove soap. I don't know what it is about Dove soap.
We have been giving out pretty much
Dove soap.
We have been blessed with Dove soap. People have been giving us that. And it's not being disrespectful in any means, and we appreciate everything that someone gives us. But I always tell people, don't give what you don't use yourself. Because just because they're living a different lifestyle than what you are, then that doesn't mean that they're less than what you are.
And also, let me sort of piggyback off of that, and this sort of just came from the Holy Spirit. So this is crazy. All of this stuff that we're basically telling you, unfortunately, if somebody does happen to get picked up to go to jail, all of those things, yes, ma'am, we do need men's Dove soap too.
Yes, and deodorant.
But the funny thing about it is, every single thing that they're listing, right, that she's telling you right now, if you get locked up, these are things that you can keep.
Right.
That you can keep with you. So if you have a sports bra, because they don't let you keep a bra with underwire in it, they'll make you take it out. So if you have a bra, or if you have your socks, or you have your chapstick, and you have your deodorant, and you have your toothpaste with your little travel toothpaste holder, you have all that stuff. They'll let you keep it.
Okay.
And instead of having to give you an energy pack, and you have your own little personal things already with you.
That's great information because I didn't know that. I know
they'll
they
let
have to
you
keep
keep
it because I was thinking that each time they come out, they have to try to get this stuff all over again.
Well, obviously, if you're going into jail and you have that stuff, it takes them at least, if they don't give you the energy pack, it takes you at least a week or two to get
their commissary.
So
right.
you have, at least if you have that stuff, even if they have to open it up, check it, make sure there's nothing in it, they'll let you keep your toothbrush, your toothpaste, and stuff that's already there. And especially that sports bra. Because there's nothing worse than getting locked up and you do not have no underwear or no bra, and then you got to wait for somebody to be nice enough to be like, okay, well, I'm going to leave. I'll let you have my bra.
Right.
You know, because it's a very big different experience. That's like I said.
Exactly. Oh, speaking of underclothes, we talked about the sports bra, packs of underwear, small, medium,
and large. Definitely.
Men's boxers, mostly small and large, but not small, medium and large. And the white T-shirts, or the little, and I'm not gonna call them what they call them.
Right. It's called an A shirt. Found that out. It's called an A shirt.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So
tank tops.
So those are some of the things that we do need so that we can start preparing for the winter. We have blankets right now. That we were donated last year. We still have a lot of those left. We're about to start up with a pillow drive. So, the little travel pillows, those pillows would be great to help with getting those things in, for those that are out on the street. Travel pillows are something that they can fit into those little, I don't know what you call them, little knapsack things. So those are some of the things that we need. We appreciate you, and we just thank God for you tuning in with us on today. And we will talk to you again next week, because you can't tell it. Let me tell it. God bless you. And Ziploc bags. So everybody check the feed. Anything that you see on there, Sherry works with us on the ministry. So she's putting out there all those things that we definitely need. Love you. Bye-bye.